Okay, here in the Anza Borrego Desert is a giant barrel cactus. Scientific name is cactus cylindraceus. Who knows how old this may be? 50 years, more or less. You can see the flowers are just coming out from a growing point in the center. Also how the spines all point inward to protect that growing point. The parts of the flower of this cactus are quite obvious. The yellow flowers of cactus cylindraceus has a yellow stigma. These are sticky and designed to attract pollen. These are the pollen producers down here. These are the anthers. They continue to move. The idea is that that little insect will go down inside, wallow around, get himself covered with pollen. But the movement of the anthers improves that, so that pollination can be a little more efficient with the anthers moving towards the pollinator. So the anthers produce the pollen, and the stigma receives the pollen. You can see these back here have been chewed on by some critter getting nutrition from those nice, moist, tender petals. Since this plant, this cactus, has been sitting here for years and years, in order for reproduction to be efficient, it needs to advertise. It can't get around to share its DNA from a distance. It has to incorporate an advertising campaign, which you can see by these flowers loaded with pollen that are attractive to insects. The insects then land in this airfield and pollination is assured. Because the plants in the desert are widespread from one another, there's quite a distance between, so these showy flowers need to be out there advertising to make sure that the pollinators locate the flower, locate the anthers, get the pollen to be moved quite a distance to another flower here in the desert. So these cactuses are not in a forest next to each other. There's quite a distance between each flower on each plant. So the advertising campaign must be efficient, or pollination will be less effective. Another name for this cactus, I think, is something like sun compass, because if you look on hillsides, most of these big barrel bodies are pointing slightly towards the south. So theoretically you could know the direction of south by looking at the barrel cactuses. There are other better ways, but that's kind of a Boy Scout mantra. These curved outer spines are protected on the inner parts by smaller spines, and those are the growing areas, at least up near the top of this plant. There are also little buttons of sweet material that's there to attract ants, and the ants allegedly protect this plant from other insects that might want to munch on it. That seems to be sort of an overkill, but maybe someday it'll be important. The hillside is covered with barrel cactus and teddy bear cholla and miscellaneous other desert plants. Giant barrel cactus, cactus cylindraceus.